So yesterday or in the last class we were discussing about the nodal analysis with voltage sources, right? So here we know that in the case of nodal analysis we have to apply the KCL equations. Just a minute, that's a okay. So we have seen how to do the nodal analysis if there is a current source. The main equation in nodal analysis with current source is KCL equation. Okay, so at each of the nodes, at each of the non-reference nodes, we will be writing the KCL equation and we will be solving the nodal voltages. Okay, and later we were discussing the case when we have voltage sources along with the current sources, or sometimes the circuit may have only voltage source. And in that case, how to use the nodal analysis to solve the circuit. So that is what we are discussing. So here there are two cases. The first case is where the voltage is present between a non-reference node and a reference node. So in this case, actually, if we have a voltage source between these two nodes, then actually the number of equations will reduce, because from this circuit we can directly write V1 is equal to 10 volt. Because the meaning of this V1 is it is a potential at this node with respect to the ground. And if you see, this 10 volt is also the potential at this node with respect to the ground. Okay, so directly write V1. So please mute joining. So we can directly write the nodal voltage as the 10 volt, because 10 volt is exactly parallel to this nodal voltage. Okay, and for the next and here actually there is no need for writing one more equation, because there is only one nodal voltage what we have to determine, and we can tell that V1 is directly 10 volt. Okay, so if we have a voltage source connected between a non-reference and a reference node, actually finding the nodal voltage is quite easier, or it is straightforward. Okay, and the second case is what we will discuss in detail now. Okay, so the second case is where the voltage source is present between two nodes. Okay, so in this case, we cannot compute the current through this particular branch because we do not know the resistance of this source. So finding the current through this branch is quite challenging. Okay, so here, if we have a voltage source between two non-reference nodes, then we have to form a super node and then analyze the circuit using both KCL as well as KVL. Okay, so we will see how to do that. So what we have to do is the two nodes where we have this voltage source has to be treated as a super node. Okay, it is almost like it has to be treated like a single node. Okay, and then to this super node we have to apply the KCL equation for finding the currents. So we will see that one by one. So here, not only for a independent source, even if we have a dependent voltage source, that particular node or the nodes which are connected to that particular voltage source has to be treated as a super node. Okay. So here in this particular circuit, we can see that these two are clubbed together and they form a super node. Now, if we write a KCL equation at this super node, we have to first count how many branches are connected to this super node. Okay, so you can see that this particular branch, the I1 branch, the I2 branch, I3 branch, and I4 branch are connected to this super node. And we have to consider this V2 and V3 as a super node, and then we have to write the KCL equation at this particular node. Okay, so how do we write? We will write I1 and I4 are entering. So I1 plus I4 is equal to I2 plus I3. Okay. Once we get this current, then we can represent them in terms of voltage, nodal voltages. So what is I1? I1 is coming from V1 to V2. So we can write I1 is equal to V1 minus V2 by 2. Similarly, what is I4? I4 is coming from V1 to V3. So we can write I4 is equal to V1 minus V3 by 4. Okay. Same way for I2. I2 is flowing from V2 to the ground. So we can write I2 is equal to V2 by 8 and I3 is equal to V3 by 6. Okay. So with this, we will get one equation, but this one single equation will not be sufficient for us to solve the solve all the three nodal voltages. Okay. However, if you see here, we are having a 10 volt source connected between this non-reference node V1 and the ground. So here from the circuit, we can directly write V1 is equal to 10 volt, right? So that also we can write. That will help us to reduce the number of equations. So one voltage source or one nodal voltage can be directly determined based on this voltage source. Okay. So V1 is equal to 10 volt. So now one of the nodal voltages, so V2 and V3 are unknown. So with a single equation, we will not be able to solve it. So we require one more equation. Okay. And that equation we obtain by applying the KVL at this particular supernode. So for that, we have to draw this part separately and then analyze. So before that, you can just copy these equations. Okay. So applying KCL at the supernode, we get this first equation. And V1 is equal to 10 volt. Directly we can write from the circuit. And we will see how to apply a KVL equation at this supernode.
How did we set that V1 is equal to 10 volts?
What is the meaning of V1 here? V1 is the nodal voltage at this node with respect to ground, right? So it is a potential at this point with respect to ground. And if you see here, a 10 voltage source is connected between V1 and the ground. So directly we can write V1 is equal to 10.
Maybe we should write like V1 minus 10 by 0. There is no distance.
How will you write V1 minus 10 by 0?
V1 minus 0 by 10. Like V1 minus.
Why V1 by 10? What is that logic?
Not by 10.
Huh.
That area is grounded, so V1 will be 10, right? Like,
That's what I'm telling. V1 is equal to 10.
It's actually
You are having.
When two sources are given V1 minus some x by the resistor like that.
If you want to find the current, we should know what is the resistance in this particular branch. Since there is no, since there is only a voltage source and the internal resistance of this voltage source is unknown, we cannot write the current for this particular branch. However, since the voltage source is connected between this node and the reference node, directly we can write V1 is equal to 10 volt, right? What is the meaning of V1? V1 means the potential at this point with respect to ground. The potential at this node with respect to ground. And across that, there is a voltage source. So it means that V1 is equal to 10 volt, right?
No, but V1 is giving to the 2 ohm resistor and 4 ohm also.
But it is, what is the meaning of V1? It is the potential at this point with respect to ground, right?
Yes. So we can say, no, ma'am, whenever a voltage source is there between one node and one ground, means it is the node voltage.
That is what I'm telling, no? Whenever you have a voltage source between a non-reference node and a reference node, directly the nodal voltage is equal to the value of that voltage source. Okay. So that is what I'm telling.
The ground is the non-reference node, ma'am, here.
Ground is a reference node. V1, V2, V3 are the non-reference nodes. The node set V1, V2, V3 are the non-reference nodes. Okay, so this is the first equation. So now we will see how to apply KVL at this supernode. So for that, we will redraw the circuit alone with the supernode. Okay. And we have to apply the nodal voltage at this particular, sorry, we have to apply the KVL across this particular loop. Okay. So here the potential at this point is V2, on the left extreme is V2, and on the right side it is V3. Okay. And here we are having a 5 volt between these two nodal voltages. And this forms a closed circuit. So by applying KVL, we will be able to get one more equation relating V2 and V3. Okay. So how do we write it? See, some students are unmuting and talking. I don't know. When you are joining a group, please have the courtesy that you should mute yourself. Okay, so now applying KVL for this particular loop, we can write. We can go in one particular direction, either in the clockwise or in the anti-clockwise. So here, let us assume that we are going in the clockwise direction. So how do we write a KVL for this particular branch? We can write it as V2 minus 5 minus V3 is equal to 0. So that forms a complete circuit. Okay. So by this we get one more equation which relates V2 and V3. So now we have two equations with the two unknowns. We will be able to solve this and find what is V2 and V3. Okay. So it means that whenever there is a super node, we have to apply both the KVL as well as KCL. Okay. So first form the super node, apply KCL, and then consider the loop with the super nodes and then apply KVL. So with that, we will be getting the required equations to solve the nodal voltages. Okay.
Ma'am, when we...
Can you show the previous slide once, ma'am?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Next slide, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, here, how we took the KVL, ma'am? Like actually, if you took the KVL, means the reverse sign common. Actually, the V2 plus 5 plus V3 is equal to 0, like that it will come now. If you take the KVL.
See, what is the convention you are following?
The clockwise convention, the entering.
So are we taking the entering convention or the leaving convention?
Ma'am, I'm asking for V2 the.
No. You please answer me. Which convention are we following? Are we considering the convention where we are entering or where we are leaving?
Leaving.
Then.
Means like my doubt is actually when taking this clockwise direction means this V2 and V3 is plus and minus, we don't care the direction. We will take this direction only, the clockwise. Then the VT.
See, when you are having a nodal voltage, the meaning is that is by default a positive value, right? If it is a negative value, we will mention it as minus V2. So normally, if it is a nodal voltage, by default, the assumption is that it is a positive value. So it means that the potential at this particular node is positive with respect to the ground, and similarly at the next node the potential at that particular point is positive with respect to the ground. So that's how we get this positive and negative sign. Okay.
So we cannot take the V2 plus as, I mean, below the plus and above minus, like we should not.
No, we cannot write. If that is the case, the nodal voltage has to be written as minus V2.
Means, I mean, we have to remember that at the node, there should be always positive, that we should be.
No, it is not like that. Initially, we will not know whether the voltage is positive or negative. So what we do is we take them to be positive. V1, V2, V3 we take. We will solve the circuit. If the answer is positive, then the potential is correct. If you are getting a negative answer, it means that Say for example, if V2 is negative, it means that this polarity has to be reversed. That's it. But initially when we analyze the circuit, we will not know whether it is positive or negative. So similar to the loop currents, you fix the nodal voltages, solve it. If the answer is positive, the positive value of nodal voltage is correct. If not, it has to be opposite. That is understood.
Means how did we got this V2, V3, these signs, plus minus? They haven't mentioned in the question.
See, are you understanding what I'm trying to tell? If the voltage, if they are not mentioning anything, it means that by default that particular voltage is positive. So it means that how do we normally represent a potential? It is always with respect to a reference point, right? So if you are telling we are having a 10 volt source, it means that at one point it is positive and at the other point it is negative. Same thing is applicable for the nodal voltages also. So if you are considering a voltage at this point and we tell it to be V2, it means that with respect to the ground, it is V2. And here the ground is the bottommost point. So that's why we write the polarity to be plus minus.
But is it possible for a battery, I mean for a source, both sides it is positive?
See, unless we saw, see, you are doing a circuit analysis, okay? Conceptually, we are not analyzing. We are analyzing from an analysis point of view. Initially, when there are more than one source, we cannot really determine in which direction the current is flowing or whether the potential is positive or negative. So for that, we assume certain values and we solve the circuit. If we get the value as positive, the assumed thing is correct. If not, it has to be the opposite way. That's it. Okay.
Now we assume the polarities plus and minus according to the we choose the direction of current. That's it, right?
No, it is
the
according to no.
Current is going down, so plus minus. We can't take like that.
No. Current we are fixing after this only, right? You
Yes,
see the previous circuit. I'll show the previous. See here, for analyzing the circuit, the question is we have to determine this nodal voltages V1, V2, V3. So it is like similar to how we fix the loop currents, we are fixing the nodal voltages as V1, V2, V3. So the meaning of this is the potential at this point, say for example, if you are considering V1, the potential at this point is positive with respect to ground. That's the reason why directly we write V1 is equal to 10 volt.
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, when we write this V2, what is the meaning? The potential at this point is positive with respect to ground. And similarly for V3 also, the potential at this point is positive with respect to the ground. It is always, voltages have to be always with respect to a common reference point.
Okay, ma'am. So if the current is in the opposite direction, I2 also, we should take plus minus.
Which current?
Like the I2 in that branch, 8 ohm branch. If it's the opposite direction also, we should take plus in top, negative down. That's it, right?
See, once you fix the nodal voltages, then you can fix the currents. So here, since V1, V2, V3 are already fixed, they have again given the current direction flowing from V2 to, flowing downwards. If the current is flowing downwards, not downwards, if it is flowing upwards, how do we write the current? Current will be 0 minus V2 divided by the 8 ohm. Current will always flow from one end to the other end. So you can take it to be the difference between the two voltages divided by the resistance. Okay. So now, see, V2 and V3 are already fixed. So now for writing a KVL, we have to go in one particular direction. So we assume we are going in the clockwise direction. And the convention what we are following is from the terminal where we are exiting, we take that to be the polarity. So it is V2 minus 5 minus V3 is equal to 0. And as I told you, you can also go with the point where you are entering. The polarity, you can take the point from where you are entering. That will also give you the similar equation. Okay, but do not take both. In one case, you do not take the entering value, and in the other case, do not take the leaving value. If you're taking something, you have to be consistent with the entire voltages. Okay. So here I am taking the polarity from where I am leaving the terminal. So it is V2 minus 5 minus V3 is equal to 0. Always KVL we write for a closed loop. Okay.
Ma'am, so always when we take the sign means we should consider the entering, I mean, the V2 and V3, like, I mean, those type circuits has positive and negative, I mean, positive while entering, minus while leaving, like that we have to consider.
Are you talking for the KVL or for the polarity?
The K in the, I mean, while calculating the KVL, the polarity, ma'am, we are considering the polarity.
That is what we are solving so far, right?
Yes. I mean,
What's your
in
name?
mesh,
What's your name?
Adi.
Adi. Okay. Have you attended the previous classes, mesh analysis classes?
Yes, ma'am.
Then?
Ma'am, in meshes, I mean, we don't consider the polarity. We take this, I mean, this direction and we do it. I mean, only for the battery we consider the polarity.
No. How will you write a KVL without considering the polarity for the resistances?
For resistances, we think like they are all positive. In a, I mean, if we take a clockwise direction, we think all are in a positive except the battery.
Nothing like that. Please refer to your mesh analysis notes, okay? See, I can answer certain doubts, but if you have not clearly understood the previous concepts, even I cannot help. Okay. Even for the mesh analysis, once we fix the direction of current, we will just go along the direction of current, and whenever there is a sources, depending on the terminal from where we are exiting, we consider that polarity. And for resistances, we assume that there will be a drop. So it will be always negative. That is the convention we follow. So please refer back to the mesh analysis on how to write a KVL for the mesh. Okay. So I will move forward. So I hope it is clear to the others.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so we will take up a numerical problem. So for the circuit, we have to find V and I using nodal analysis. So in the question, if they are explicitly asking you to use nodal analysis, you have to use only nodal analysis, okay? Because any circuit can be solved using any of the methods. But if the question is an explicit term, you have to go with that particular term. Okay, so here for this particular numerical, the question is that we have to use the nodal analysis. So only by using nodal analysis, we will see how to solve this circuit. Okay. So first step is we have to fix the nodal voltages. Okay. So here for this particular circuit, how many nodal voltages are there?
3, ma'am.
3 is the reference.
4.
Yes, actually there are 4. Okay. Even the junction between this 4 ohm and 14 volt is also a node. But the thing is 14 volt and 4 ohm are in series. Okay.
Yes,
so if there is a current flowing through them, the same current will flow through both 4 ohm and 14 volt. So we need not take this node to be a separate node. Okay. So we will consider the series combination of this 14 volt and 4 ohm together, and we will just neglect this node, otherwise only the number of equations will increase. Okay, because they are connected in series. So if there is a current flowing, the same current will supposed to flow. Okay, so neglecting that particular node, we have 3 nodes, and in that one node we will take it as a reference node. So the bottommost node we will take it as a reference node, and now we will fix the nodal voltages V1 and V2. Okay, we always assume it to be positive, and then we will solve the circuit. If you get the answer as positive, then the nodal voltages are correct. If you are getting the answer as negative, it means that it has to be the opposite. That's it. Okay. Again, if you get V1 as negative, you can leave it there only. You need not again give an explanation. That is understood. Yes.
Ma'am, here we can also take V2 as V1 plus 6 now.
That we will write the KVL, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That will be the second equation. So first we will write the KCL equation. So here you can see that the 6 volt is present between 2 non-reference nodes. Okay, so it means that this entire thing has to be treated as a super node. Whereas this 14 volt is present between a non-reference node and a reference node. However, there is a resistance here. Okay, so directly we cannot write V1 is equal to 14 volt. Okay, so if there is no 4 ohm here, only in that case V1 is equal to 14 volt, because V1 is the potential at this point with respect to ground, and without 4 ohm, 14 volt is the voltage across V1. Okay, but here we cannot write it that way because there is a 4 ohm resistor here. Okay, so we cannot write V1 is equal to 14 volt, and we will see how to write the nodal equation now. So these two nodes are combined together and they are written as a super node. So now we have to count how many branches are connected to this super node. So there are totally 4 branches connected to this super node altogether. Okay, so there should be 4 currents. And here initially we do not know in which directions the currents are flowing. So randomly we can fix the direction of current I1, I2, I and I3. I is already there. Okay, I is the current flowing through the 2 ohm. So we will again keep the notation as I and I3. Okay. So here I1 I am showing in this direction as if it is flowing from V1 to 14 volt. But really we do not know whether it is flowing in this direction or in the opposite direction. So initially we will fix the current and then we will proceed the analysis. So depending on the answer, we can determine whether the chosen direction is correct or not. Okay. So we are fixing the current I1 flowing from V1 to 14. Okay. So now how do we write the KCL equation at the super node? All the 4 currents are leaving. So we can write I1 plus I2 plus I plus I3 is equal to 0. However, if you just see here the circuit, this V, okay, V is the voltage across this 3 ohm resistor. Okay, and as per the nodal voltage, V1 is also the potential at this point with respect to ground. So we can write V1 is equal to V. Okay, V1 is also the voltage across the 3 ohm. Similarly, V is also the voltage across 3 ohm. So directly we can write V1 is equal to V.
Ma'am, V1 is equal to V by 3 now.
Why it is V1 by 3?
Because it is passing through the resistor.
See, fundamental Ohm's law, don't forget.
How,
okay?
ma'am? V1.
Voltage divided by resistance will not give you voltage. It gives you a current. Here, V1 is a voltage and V is also a voltage. Both are same. Okay. Always keep this basic Ohm's law. You will not make any mistake. Only for finding current, you require voltage by resistance. Otherwise, V1 and V both are voltages across this 3 ohm. Okay. V1 is also the voltage from this point to the ground across this 4 ohm and 14 volt. That way also we have V1 across this series combination of 4 ohm and 14 volt. Similarly, it is also the voltage across 3 ohm. However, from the given numerical, we can directly write V1 is equal to V. Okay, so now we have to find what is I1, I2, I and I3 in terms of the nodal voltages. So how do we write I1? I1 is flowing from V1 to 14 volt. So we can write V1 minus 14 divided by 4, that is I1. I2 is flowing from V1 to the ground, so it is V1 minus 0 divided by 3. So minus 0 we can neglect for convenience. Similarly, what is I? I is V2 minus 0 divided by 2, and I3 is V2 minus 0 divided by 6. Are you able to understand? So totally there are 4 branches connected to the supernode, and hence we have 4 currents. And as per the assumed direction of current, all the currents are flowing outside or outwards the supernode. Hence, we write the sum of the outgoing current is equal to 0. And then represent each of the current in terms of the nodal voltages. So see the direction of the arrow. So it is going from V1 to 14. So you can write V1 minus 14 divided by 4. The same thing for the remaining terms. So we got one equation. So with this, we will not be able to solve. So we require one more equation with the supernode. Okay. Just rearrange this equation and remove the denominator so that it is easy for us to solve. So take the common denominator and simplify this. Okay, so now we got one equation, right? A KCL equation. Now what we have to do is we have to consider the supernode separately, and this closed circuit we have to consider for writing the KVL equation. Okay, so we will redraw the circuit. Have you all copied up to here? So now we will draw the supernode part separately. So one side we are having V1, on the other side we have V2. Okay, and as I told you, the potential at that point is positive with respect to the ground. So here for writing KVL, always we have to go in one particular direction. So we assume we are going in the clockwise direction. Okay, so what will be the equation here?
V1 plus 6 minus V2
minus
is equal to 0.
Is equal to 0.
Okay, good. So V1 plus 6 minus V2 is equal to 0. So we got the second equation also. So now solving the previous equation and this equation, we will find what is V1 and V2.
Here V1 equal to V, right?
V1, yes, first we will find what is V1, V2, and then we will find what is V and I.
Okay.
So what do we get?
V1 is minus 0.4.
Good.
V2 is 5.6 ohms.
5.6 volts. Good. Okay, so now we can write what is V and I. Okay, so the nodal voltages are V1 and V2. So we have already seen that V is nothing but it is V1. And how do we find I? I is the current through this 2 ohm. Okay, and we know what is the nodal voltage V2. So V2 is also the voltage across this 2 ohm. So we can write this current I is equal to V2 divided by 2 ohm. So we get it as 2.8 ampere. Okay, so the meaning of nodal voltage is the voltage at that particular node with respect to the ground. So if we have
now we got V1 as minus a negative, so we should reverse the polarity, right?
That's what, you don't reverse anything, you just write it as a negative value. So it is understood that actual V1 is supposed to be negative. So the real meaning is V1 is actually negative with respect to ground.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Because initially when we are analyzing, we really do not know whether a particular node is at a positive potential or at a negative potential. So only after completing the circuit analysis, based on the answer, we can determine. Okay, so that is the reason why we tell that you fix the nodal voltages as positive, it is fine. Solve the entire circuit. If the answer is positive, the nodal voltage, whatever we have already assumed, is correct. If not, it has to be opposite. So the meaning here is the V1 is now negative with the 0.4 volt. So it means that the voltage across 3 ohm is actually supposed to be minus 0.4 volt. So the polarity what they have given is supposed to be the other way. But since they have already fixed it, we write the answer as negative. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand. What if there is a series element with the 6 volt? So in that case, can we write a super node here? Can we treat this as a super node? If we have resistance in series to the 6 volt, so in that case, can we write what is the current in this particular branch?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
we can
ma'am.
write. So yes, you can write the current because you have the resistance in this branch, right? So in that case, there will not be any super node. Okay, so that is what is happening in this left part of the circuit. There is a voltage source. Along with that, there is a resistance. So easily we can find what is the current. So there is no need for using the super node concept. Okay, so that you can keep it in mind for certain numericals. If you have a series element along with a voltage source, then we can write what is the current through that particular branch. Okay, so we will solve one more numerical. Okay, so take down this numerical. So here there are 2 voltage sources, okay, and there are no elements in series to that. So it means that it has to be treated as a super node. So whether we have a dependent voltage source or an independent voltage source, both the cases the supernode concept can be applied. Okay.
Ma'am, here 2 supernodes we should create, right?
We will see. Actually, here instead of creating 2 supernodes, we can consider this entire thing as a single supernode. Okay. And I told you If there is any element in parallel to that, that can also be treated together as a supernode. So here, all these things together can be taken as a supernode. If suppose if you don't remember that still you can do the circuit with considering only these voltage sources as a supernode. That will also give the same answer. Okay, so that we will see. So for the case of supernode, if there is a voltage source and any element parallel to that, can be treated as a single supernode. So we will fix, since there are three nodal voltages, V1, V2, V3. So now we are fixing the currents.
పిన్న మార్చేసుకోండి బ్యాంక్ వెళ్ళి బ్యాంక్ వెళ్ళి మాది ఏటీఎం కార్డ్ పోయిందండి.
Okay, so here this entire thing is considered as a supernode. Okay, and how many branches are connected to the supernode now? 3 branches are connected, and we will fix the direction of current. So I is already given, so I1 and I2 we can assume it to be flowing downwards. Okay. Again, there is no restriction that it has to only flow downwards. It can also flow upwards. If you are choosing it as flowing upwards, then correspondingly you have to write the equation. Okay. So how do we write the nodal equation for the supernode? There are totally 3 branches connected. So we can write all the 3 currents are leaving. So we will write I plus I1 plus I2 is equal to 0. Okay. So here I will tell you, like suppose you are not taking the 6 ohm which is connected in parallel also as a supernode, still you can write the equation. Okay, so we will see that also so that you will have a clear idea.
Ma'am, if you are not taking 6 ohm, one more current we will take, no ma'am, I4. Suppose
we are not considering 6 ohm also as a supernode. Okay, what if we are treating this V1, V2, V3 together as a supernode? Then in that case, we have to fix the direction of current for this particular branch, which is I4. Okay. So now, if you see how many branches are connected to the supernode, there are totally 5 branches, right? The current I1, I2, as well as I4 which is flowing outwards, as well as I4 which is flowing in to the supernode. So now when we write a KCL equation for this supernode, we can see that totally there are 4 currents leaving and 1 current is entering this node. Okay. So we have to always consider all the branches connected to the supernode. So here there are 5 branches, 4 currents are leaving and 1 current is entering. So if you write the nodal equation, we can write I plus I1 plus I2 plus I4 is equal to I4. Okay. So this I4 gets cancelled and we will get it as I plus I1 plus I2 is equal to 0. And that is the reason why we consider the 6 ohm also as a single supernode. But if at all, if you have a difficulty in understanding that, but that is also fine. We will consider this voltage source separately as a supernode and fix the direction of current in the 6 ohm resistor. Okay. So the current leaving is again entering back into the same supernode. And because of that, we will get the same equation as we already obtained. Okay.
Ma'am, when there is only one source, then we can take the I4.
If we have
only one source, like we have here, we have 2 sources. If you have any one source in one branch, means then we can consider that I4.
In that case, yeah, if suppose we are having only one voltage source, so in that case, only 3 branches are connected, right? So it means that all the 3 currents are leaving from that particular supernode.
Ma'am, where did you take the junction?
Sorry?
Where did you take the junction as?
This entire supernode is considered as a single junction.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, the complete supernode is considered as a single junction, and to that single junction, 5 branches are connected. If we go with this convention, or even if you take the 6 ohm together as a supernode, then in that case, 3 branches are connected to the supernode. So the entire supernode is assumed like a single junction. Okay. So now we can write what is I, I1 and I2 in terms of the nodal voltages. So I is flowing from V1 to the ground. So it is V1 minus 0 by 2. Similarly, I1 is flowing from V2 to ground. So it is V2 by 4, and I2 is flowing from V3 to the ground. So it is V3 by 3. So that is equal to 0. So we got one equation. But with this we cannot solve V1, V2, V3. We require 2 more equations. Okay. So for writing, for getting 2 more equations, we have to apply KVL. So before that, what we will do is we will just take the common denominator and write it so that it is easy when we solve it later. So take the common denominator. So we got one equation. So for getting
one supernode, we will get only 1 KVL, right?
No, but here there are 2 voltage sources which we have combined together. So from this we will be able to get 2 equations.
Okay.
Okay. And here it is a dependent current source, right? It is dependent on this current I. So what is I? I is flowing from V1 to 2. So we can write I is equal to V1 by 2. Okay. It is flowing from V1 to the ground potential. So we can write I is equal to V1 by 2. So now the supernode we will draw separately with all the nodal voltages for writing the KVL equation.
Ma'am, we should not care about that above 6 ohm resistor.
6 ohm, even if you consider that will become another loop, but without that loop also we can solve the circuit. That's the reason why I didn't draw it here. Because for applying KVL we require a loop. There should be a complete loop. So if you connect a 6 ohm also there will be a loop on the top part. So using that also we can solve. That is fine.
If you consider that there may be any variation in the answer.
No, there will not be any variation in the answer. I will tell you why. So first let us solve this, then I will tell you what if we consider the 6 ohm also. Okay. So here V1 means it is a potential. The potential at this point is positive with respect to ground. Similarly V2 and V3. Okay. So now altogether we can consider it as a single loop, or we can consider it as 2 separate loops and then write the KVL equation. Okay. So it is easy if you consider them as 2 separate loops and then write the KVL equation. So for the first loop, it will be, we assume we are going in the clockwise direction. So it is V1 minus 25 minus V2 is equal to 0. Because we require actually two more equations to solve. Okay. Similarly, if we consider the second loop, we get it as V2 plus 5I minus V3 is equal to 0. And I, we have already seen I is equal to V1 divided by 2. Okay. So replacing I with V1 by 2, we will get the next equation. So now we have 3 equations and 3 unknowns. So by solving equation number 2, 3 and 4, we will be able to get V1, V2 and V3.
That one you said to me, you will tell that if take 6 ohm also.
Okay, so what if we take the 6 ohm also here? Okay, so what if we consider the 6 ohm also here? Then in that case, we have to write a KVL for this top loop. But if you are writing a KVL for this top loop, the challenge will be, since we are having a 6 ohm here, when we are writing a KVL, we have to determine what is the current flowing through the 6 ohm. Otherwise, we cannot write the KVL, right? So for KVL, we should know the voltage across each of the elements. And since the current across the 6 ohm is as of now not determined, so even if we connect the 6 ohm, for the top loop, we cannot write a KVL equation. But if we know the current, we can write a KVL equation and solve the unknowns. Okay. So that is the reason.
Whenever we take KVL for an, super node means we have to not consider the resistors,
Even if we consider the resistor, only if we consider a closed loop, we will be able to write the KVL equation. But since the current through the 6 ohm is unknown, we will not be able to write a KVL equation for this one. And that is the reason why we are not considering that. Okay. So now we will solve this equation 2, 3 and 4. So these are the 3 values of voltages. Okay, so with this, the nodal analysis part is over. So the assignment sheet is already given and that has got plenty of numericals on nodal analysis. So please try to solve that, and if you have any doubts, we will discuss in one of the afternoon classes. Okay, maybe in an extra hour, we will discuss the assignment numericals if you have any doubts. Okay. So along with this numerical problem, in the same PPT, I have given 2 more practice problems. Okay. Practice problem 15 and 16. So this also you can try. The PDF will be uploaded by today. So the 2 practice problems also you can try from your side. Okay. So the solution, the complete solution for the practice problems will be uploaded maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. But for the assignment, you already have the final solution. So try whether you are able to do it. And if you have any doubts, you can either directly post me to my chat, or if you want to discuss in the class, you let me know. We will discuss it in an extra class. Okay. So with this, the nodal analysis with voltage sources is over. And from next class onwards, we will be starting with circuit theorems, and that will be handled by the next faculty. Okay. So Kirti ma'am will take the topic on circuit theorems.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Day after tomorrow, do you have the quiz, ma'am?
Yes. Day after tomorrow, I have already informed. No, 1:30 to 1:50 we will have the quiz. And I have already adjusted the class with the English teacher. The English class will be delayed by 15 minutes. So we will have the quiz at 1:30. So the portions is up to nodal analysis with voltage sources. Okay.
I'm objective or descriptive?
It will be combination.
Okay, ma'am.